Yo, what's up YouTube? Charizma here, today reviving yet another video that just got mercilessly gunned down by YouTube copyright flags. Now, I've learned a lot about dropping anime videos on YouTube in the past 2 years or so hopefully this won't happen again. But then again, this is Studio Pierrot and TV Tokyo. Releasing those Black Clover videos earlier this year was hell. But looking at the positives here, that video was kinda cringe and I actually retract a few of the decisions I made in it, so forevermore, may it rest in peace. Long live the original Bleach video. We hardly knew ye. But yeah, my channel has also grown a lot since then, so first, shout out to y'all for almost 2,000 subscribers. The sun loves you dearly. But also, I don't think most of you know about how much of a Bleach fan I am, really. When it comes to the big three, for me, I'd say One Piece has the best story, hands down. I mean, like, it's just no argument. But I did grow up with Naruto, so I want to say that that's my favorite, but then again, that might just be bias speaking for me. But to me, Bleach just has all the best character designs and the coolest aesthetic overall to the series. It took me a minute to get woke with Bleach, you know, but even when I was one of those toxic Naruto fans back in the day that thought Kishimoto was the second coming of Jesus, he could do no wrong. Every once in a while, watching Bleach late night on Adult Swim, I always thought the series still looked cool as hell, you know? And then once I started reading the manga, I absolutely fell in love with Kubo's art style. Despite certain people like, I don't know, Super Eye Patch Wolf, for example, calling his art a bit lazy towards the end, which I guess is fair. In case you're wondering, my favorite character has always been Kaname Tosen. I don't know, blind guys in anime have always been goated. What'd you want me to do? Now, there are 15 openings from the Bleach anime at the moment, of course until the inevitable anime return, and you all should know by now how these videos work. Music, artistic direction, plot relevance, and the almighty nostalgia factor are the goalposts here that I'll be using for my arguments today. And yeah, let's just waste no time in getting straight to the action, shall we? To anyone that's been waiting, first, sorry I'm late, and to anyone still waiting for the Food Wars video, look, the people have spoken, maybe next month. But without any further ado, let's get to it, with every Bleach opening ranked from worst to best. Number 15. Honestly, you just could not pay me enough to give a crap about this OP. I mean, you probably could, but for now, yeah, it's just boring. Which is ironic because of all the crazy colors and fast-paced fighting all throughout this opening. I mean, it starts out grabbing my attention with a clash of all these different Zanpakuto, Ichigo taking on Ikuku and Chojuro, Uryu facing off against Yumichika, Chad versus Shuhei and Rukia versus Izuru, which kinda reminds me of the reason why I don't have the slightest recollection of this OP at all. It's a filler arc, surprise! And it came after the climax of Ichigo versus Aizen, and it's about doppelgangers. Wow, I bet this arc is absolutely amazing. Sarcasm aside and generic filler aside for now, the best part about this opening for me definitely is the credit placement. I really enjoy all the contrasting colors and the geometric transitions between images of various members of the Gotei 13. Unohana calmly drinking her tea terrifies me. And after all this, we then see Nozomi, the core of this arc, I guess. I don't care. Most of the rest of this OP is just members of the Gotei 13 fighting against one another, and again, it's definitely high intensity action, but I constantly find myself zoning out at least once every time I watch this OP. I don't know if it's the song or the arc surrounding it and the fact that I was just pretty much past Bleach at this point, but the opening just screams mid to me, you know? Which is a shame because, I mean, the studio clearly put in a lot of effort here. But, oh well. Number 14. If you haven't guessed by now, I don't really care for Bleach filler much, so I don't even recall this opening either from my original run through the series. The nostalgia here is basically non-existent for Chubara in the same way that it is for Blue. I will give this opening credit though. It has phenomenal storyboarding. This was, of course, the first season of Bleach that was broadcasted in 16:9 aspect ratio, so clearly Studio Pierrot wanted to flex their muscles a little bit and give us a bunch of scenery to soak in, you know? Literally, the background of every shot here is gorgeous, especially wide shots of Karakura Town and Seirete. The fighting in this OP leaves a lot to be desired compared to Blue, but the music makes up for it in that cheerful, new beginning type of way, you know? Cinematic, I think, is the best way to describe this opening overall. The main thing holding this OP in second to last place, though, is it's just a pretty vanilla opening for Bleach. All the later OPs for Bleach are crisp as hell, to say the least, and all of the earlier Bleach OPs just have so much personality, but Chubara is just like most other generic high school anime openings about slaying souls and demons and shit. But still, this opening and the arc about Shusuke Amagai during this time isn't all that bad. I like to think of it as one of those arcs that could have also been used as a solid 8 out of 10 movie, like the Urashiki time travel arc from Boruto. Number 13. Jeez, this opening is just triggering. Why did it have to end this way? Why was this arc so mid? Where is the rest of the Bleach anime? Why must you tease me? For the end of Bleach, Harukaze is fine and all, but still feels to me like one of those OPs that, I mean, was obviously meant to be the last because it was, but never truly carried that air of finality and resolution that a final OP should have. It's like, on one hand, they're introducing all of these new characters like Ginjo, Riruka, Yukio, and all the Fullbringers, but on the other hand, they're also cramming in all this homage, including, you know, to be fair, a pretty satisfying montage of every episode number card from the anime. One thing I can say though is that at least this OP isn't boring to look at. In some sense, very cinematic, much like Chubara, but just better. I mean, it may only last like 3 seconds, but this skirmish between Ichigo and Tsukishima is one of the best 3-second clashes I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's honestly just a shame that this was what we were left with, you know? And don't get me wrong, again, Harukaze could have been a really nice final song to the series, but I'm afraid it just doesn't work for me, Chief. I don't think the Fullbring arc works as a final arc, to be honest. God. That just reminds me. I can't wait to see what the opening for the new Bleach anime will be. I'm sure it's going to be fire.
Peggy 12.
Well, would you look at this? Another overlooked OP because of its association with yet another insignificant filler arc. Actually, that might be a little bit too harsh because, I mean, at least this filler took place in between 2 arcs as opposed to right in the middle of one, halting all narrative momentum. And all things considered, this OP is pretty enjoyable, you know, regardless of its plot significance. Tonight is such a jovial song that also fits perfectly with somewhat of a downtime for the Bleach anime, while Kubo continued to further the manga's lead. Not just that, but the drip, bro. This is my favorite part of all of the earlier Bleach OPs. You can just tell that Studio Pierrot were trying their hardest to match Kubo when it came to showing off Bleach fashion. I'm sure I'll be bringing this up again later, trust me. Now, even though this opening is fun and we get to even see a sneak peek of Ukiura in later versions, I just can't ignore the fact that this opening was used for an arc that basically went something like this. All right, hold on. Let's test my voice acting skills. Hey, some dickheads are threatening the sanctity of Seirete. Should we call Ichigo? No! We will fight!
A few moments later.
Yeah.
Ichigo!
Almost another day. See you some other day.
Number 11. Another opening that, you know, I didn't immediately remember, but boy is this song a banger. The first time I did this list, I heavily disrespected this OP by putting it in last place, but it's okay, we all make mistakes. It was 2019, again, I was cringe. Not gonna lie, while warming up for this video and my other super top secret nuclear concoction that's still cooking up, by the way, I rocked out to Anima Rosa a lot. Again, the arc is irrelevant as fuck, let's be real. Most of us during the live broadcast were frankly just starving to get back to Ichigo versus Ukiura because, I mean, we all knew Vasto Lorde Ichigo was coming. Visually though, this opening holds up pretty well. There's a couple of awesome shots of Ichigo in his inner hollow, Renji, Rukia, and everyone else in the rain, Head Captain Yamamoto's Shikai, and even a rare glimpse of Shunsui's Zanpakuto Toe Spirit Katen, teasing his Bankai, and Rangiku's here too. Hey Rangiku! Overall, this OP has some great music, Porno Graffiti been goated, and some pretty solid fight scenes as well. It's just unfortunate, that it involves a whole lot of no-names, showcasing a bunch of rather insignificant characters from a pretty forgettable arc. But hey, at least Rangiku's here too. Hey Rangiku, I see you, bae! Number 10. No matter what opening came after Veronica, it was going to have a very difficult time following up, So that hurts Sojo S just a little bit because it replaced my one true love, Veronica. But this opening still has a lot to offer, especially from a visual standpoint. Especially. I wish the series could look like this all the time, bro. Rukia and Orihime's designs in this OP are just perfect. Orihime over here looking like Inoue the Stallion. Oh, the legs, bruh. The art, bruh. That thinly outlined style with that little bit of shading that, as you can tell, I love because it just creates a lot more flexibility when it comes to motion, Case in point, Orihime and Rangiku's beautiful orange hair flowing in the wind. It almost looked like they drew it strand by strand, But the real show stealers in this OP are the series of still shots of all of the top Shinigami from the Gote 13, as well as Ichigo's main crew. And I could easily break them down one by one. They're all so well designed and shaded. But for the sake of conserving time here, I'll just go over my top 5 for now. First is definitely Captain Soifone and Unohana, just instant nosebleeds. Then you got Captain Ukitake and Komamura, just badass, what do you want me to say? And finally is Yachiru, because come on man, that's just a mood. Sometimes the simple things in life work best, and when used creatively, still shots such as these can add a different type of edge and attitude to an OP, The song is a bop, but I will admit that it does get a little bit obnoxious after hearing it so much, especially if you're a binger like me. But the animation and the nostalgia personally makes this opening a very fun watch every now and again, Number 9. Now I might be a little bit biased to this opening because it reminds me a lot of the Soul Society arc and, they're screaming in it. But come on, this opening is badass, right? From a pure visual aspect, it isn't the flashiest intro of the series, sure, especially compared to the ones with all the drip in it, but it absolutely works as the theme song to Ichigo vs. Byakuya. The studio decided to use a few stationary and slow panning shots to effectively showcase Ichigo's crew as a bunch of no-nonsense rebels, which they pretty much had to be in order to save Rukia from execution. This is probably my favorite shot of early Shikai Ichigo. Just look at his Shihakusho flowing in the wind, man. It's amazing. Expanding on the second opening from Bleach, this OP once again shows off all the court guard captains, this time some of them flexing their Shikai, and the face-off between Ichigo and Byakuya towards the end always tempts me to go back and rewatch their battle every time I see it. Of course, this was where most people fell in love with Bleach, so I have to acknowledge that aspect of it as well. Even though I was a bit of a late bloomer with Bleach, I do still remember this OP from a couple Saturday midnights on Adult Swim in the late 2000s. So, the deep cutting nostalgia is still there for me in the sense as well. Number 8. Definitely one of the more iconic Bleach OPs, that's for sure. I mean, we all know how synonymous Aqua Times is with Bleach. In some ways, though, one could compare this to the Sign OP from Naruto Shippuden. The black and white grainy aesthetic, obviously, the campfire sing-songy vibe to the song, all of this adds to the uniqueness of Alones, This opening kind of feels like a breakup song for Ichigo and Orihime before they even got together. spoilers, I think. Around this time, the Arrancar saga was just starting to enter its second gear, with a bunch of different chess moves being made between Seirei-Tei, the Living World, and Hueco Mundo, of course in preparations for the huge impending battle, which alone hints towards perfectly without giving away many spoilers, as a great OP should. I mean, we don't even get to see Ichigo versus Grimmjow once in this entire thing. I really love the mirror scenes of all the Shinigami and the Espada lined up. You know, it really makes you feel like a huge battle is on the horizon. And of course, the narrative thread of Orihime being torn between staying with Ichigo or Aizen just further adds to the layers of storytelling in this opening. And then of course, you can't have a great anime opening without a running scene. I mean, come on. This OP unfortunately gets a little overshadowed by all of the other just incredible openings from the Arrancar saga, but it is still pretty catchy, you know, unique as I said, and very nostalgic, even inherently. Number 7.
夢にまで見たような世界で争いもなく平和に暮らしたい
The first 3 OPs for the Arrancar saga are absolutely goated, and this right here is my second favorite. I rank it higher than Alone's only because I personally prefer the energy in the Rolling Star opening more, but that might just be me. First off, shout out to Yui for the vocals here, because most times I never skip this intro simply because I'm caught up in having too much fun singing along, you know? And if I'm caught doing that, especially involuntarily, it's the mark of a great OP. Not just that, but the visuals here as well. Top tier for the original Bleach art style. Once again, the drip on all the characters during this cafe scene is on point, but as soon as the hook comes in, we get these just frantic cuts back and forth of shots of Karakura Town and Orihime chasing for something in the nighttime, and of course just Soul Reapers doing Soul Reaper things. Then from there, the OP just kicks into another gear, you know, and trust me, Bleach is one of the best animes out there when it comes to having that mad emo deviant art imagery in its openings, and it shows here, really. The grainy black and white filter is back and I love it, and a lot of this opening shows Ichigo battling to control his inner hollow, which matches the plot for one, and it's just portrayed very well with this song backing it, you know, it's awesome. I look back on this section of the story with such fond memories because this was the beginning of Bleach going from a great series, you know, not bad at all, but to just an absolute legend. Even if it is still disrespected and heavily underrated to this very day. Look, all I know is that I'm still just looking for a girl that looks at me the way that Rukia looks at Ichigo calling for his Zanpakuto. Number 6. From the beginning of a legend to the actual legend itself, this song is like a musical representation of all the intensity of the conflict between the Espada and the Soul Reapers starting to reach a fever pitch, let me tell you. This OP wastes no time in setting the stage for the battle, first introducing the leaders of all of the 3 parties involved here, head captain of all of the Gotei 13, Genryu Saishige Kuni Yamamoto, the de facto leader of the Visors, Shinji Hiroko, and Sosuke Aizen, leader of the Arrancar. Then afterwards, very fittingly, it goes to introduce the top 3 Espada right after Aizen, Stark, Barigan, and Haribel. In all caps, Haribel. Before, of course, transitioning to the battlefield in the desert of Hueco Mundo. All of this happens while Ichigo and Ukiura are just in the background at each other's throats. And to make things even better, I thought the art in this OP was gorgeous enough already, but then this enormous battle breaks out in fake Karakura Town, and yeah, there's just so much going on. I can't possibly go through this all one by one, but you can see it on screen. It's crazy. Just fists, feet, and Bankai flying everywhere. It's honestly breathtaking. Change is one of those OPs that I definitely would have forgotten about had I not finished watching Bleach a few years ago, and damn, I would have missed out on an absolute roller coaster of an opening. It just has everything. A rocking song, mesmerizing visuals, and plenty of nostalgia for the biggest arc in the anime. That section in the beginning, that change in the beginning, man, no matter where you are or how old you may be, if you were a Bleach fan once upon a time, I bet that shit will feel like Ichigo when he first got his powers back at the end of the Fullbring arc. Finally!
Finally! The Rock has come back! Home!
Number 5. Going all the way back to the beginning now, D-Techno Life, the second OP for the series, is one of the best second OPs for a series that I think I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is that it's just a perfect follow-up to the first OP in the sense that, you know, Asterisk was more of a stylish means of introducing the series to a casual audience, whereas D-Techno Life now acknowledges that fan base that the series has built and decides to showcase all of these new characters and lore that came from Rukia giving Ichigo his Shinigami powers and Ichigo infiltrating the Seirete. This OP was the first time we'd ever laid eyes on a lot of important Shinigami that we got to see more of in the future, and overall it's just a lot more plot focused, you know? It's basically a 90-second rendition of the Soul Society arc, to be honest. This is another early Bleach OP, so yeah, the animation isn't going to be that incredible, but the battle scenes in this OP are impressive just by themselves. Uryu versus Toshiro, Chad versus Soifone, and Ichigo versus Renji all keeps the OP racing at 100 miles per hour during the chorus. Now combine all of that with all that was kicking off in the plot around this time, like the Seirete Civil War, essentially spawning out of Aizen's resignation, Ichigo's duels with Renji and Kenpachi, and of course discovering that Yoruichi was my fucking waifu, and you realize that this is just one of those openings, you know? One of those openings that remind you of how you became a Bleach fan, you know? How great it was to be a Bleach fan way back in the first arc. It's almost like the Haruka Kanata OP from Naruto in the sense that it takes you back to the arc that made you really attach yourself to the series, you know? Or me at least. Number 4. Now, this is one of those OPs that really make you hate the fact that you grew up, you know? Makes you miss the days when you actually wanted to be an adult because, you know, you were too naive to realize just how overrated living alone was. Bills and shit. Again, I don't have many memories of Bleach from my childhood, but I do, funny enough, remember watching the premiere of the first episode of the dub on Cartoon Network back in 2006 or something, for whatever reason. Asterisk, safe to say, is one of my favorite first OPs ever, and it's definitely one of my favorite Bleach OPs. Obviously, it's top 5. I mean, this opening is just smothered in style, bro. Drip Goku would be so embarrassed. You get to see so much of the cast in their casual clothes, with Ichigo and Rukia sporting some of their best outfits of the series here. I mean, goggles will never be an unattractive accessory in anime, that's for sure. There's not much action at all in this opening besides Ichigo taking on a group of random samurai, but the music and overall attitude of this OP makes up for that in spades. Asterisk isn't the typical shonen theme in the sense that it just sounds too cool, you know? But that's why it works so well. This opening totally made me fall in love with Bleach's aesthetic. Although I wasn't a hardcore fan overnight or anything, I still knew I loved Bleach, even when I didn't, just because it had such a different tone from its contemporaries Naruto and One Piece. Overall, this OP isn't just an opening. It's a feeling, you know? And as cliche and cringe as that sounds, this rap rock hybrid, the animation style, everything about this OP screams early to mid 2000s era anime. And for someone like me who grew up in that era, this opening is just so good. It's almost like a music video, and it would feel nostalgic to me even if I didn't see Bleach back in the day. Number 3. And here I was thinking that only Naruto got all the kick-ass Asian Kung Fu Generation songs for openings. The battle between Ichigo and Grimmjow was my personal favorite Espada fight. Yes, even better than Ukiura. And, I mean, I just fuck with Pesce and Don Dachaka so much, man. Those are my guys! Most underrated characters in Bleach. And also, for what it's worth, I think this might be the best OP visually speaking from the 4:3 aspect ratio era of Bleach, besides maybe Rolling Star. The black and white two-tone shaded scenes of all the Espada with Aizen at the head of the table is just marvelous. I love how the camera zooms out slowly to show all of them. There's also these couple of scenes of Orihime drowning in a body of water, which is just great. metaphorically speaking, you know, for the ocean of emotions that she must feel being imprisoned in Las Noches, trying to protect everyone by sacrificing herself. We also see Neliel, of course, in her child form, various scenes of Hueco Mundo, as well as the core of the series, no pun intended, the Hogyoku. Until it eventually ends with Ichigo storming into Las Noches and fearlessly aiming his sword straight at Aizen. But the real show stealer here at the end of the day is After Dark by Asian Kung Fu Generation. It's just a wicked song, truly. I sing it in the shower, I listen to it while working out. Any excuse to listen to this song, I will. It's among my favorite Asian Kung Fu Generation songs of all time. However, it is still only number 3 this opening. Ugh, shocking, I know. What could possibly be above this one? Number 2. I wanted to put this at number 1 so bad, man. So bad. This OP is honestly the reason why I've been a Bleach fan for years. I was very stop-start with the series when I was a kid because, again, I was one of those Naruto kids. I didn't think anything was better, so I never truly got invested in the series, but I do remember sticking around for a couple weeks back in the day just because this OP was so fire, and because of all the interesting dynamics of the Fate Karakura arc around this time. This OP is the reason ultimately why I went back and finished Bleach back in 2018. Even though I wasn't actively watching the series back in the day, every now and again I would always return to this opening wondering why I ever looked down on Bleach. And from a visual standpoint, I can see precisely why. This OP is absolutely stunning, man. Shoujo S tried its damnedest, but it could never replicate such greatness. We see a bunch of still shots of each of the Gote 13 squads, complete with captains, lieutenants, and other associates, shifting around until they stop at images of them standing in the wind. And honestly, all of this carries that hyper-realistic style which just complements Kubo's art so well, and has that type of shading to it that reminds me of something like Black Dynamite, I don't know, which just gives everyone that little bit of extra attitude, you know? Especially Iba, who was Komamura's lieutenant at the time. It's the shades, you know, they were just made for this art style. Other great scenes include this grainy shot of all of the visors who were training Ichigo to be the very best at this time.
I wanna be the very best.
As well as Ichigo's walk through the desert of Hueco Mundo, each of his comrades appearing beside him one by one. Goddamn, sometimes I forget just how freaking tall Isane is. Forget Inoue the Stallion, it's Isane the Stallion now. Yeah, so Velonica is just the best. One of my favorite anime openings of all time, regardless of series. And again, I wanted this to be number 1 so badly, man, but to be honest, this and my next one are honestly interchangeable. It just depends on how I wake up that day. They are similar in a lot of ways. I guess I'm just trying not to be too nostalgic, you know, but like, how can you not? And that brings us to number 1. Oh, what could it be? Yes, I'm a hypocrite. Yes, I know. But as time goes by, I'm gonna be honest, this opening just keeps growing on me more and more. The pacing of the anime around this time was horrendous. What with all the mini filler arcs constantly interrupting the climax of the Fate Karakura Town arc. So that might have left a bad taste in my mouth over the years, but I mean, come on. This opening is so awesome that it honestly makes it unfair to use that to take away from the sheer quality of this OP. Remember how I said I love Bleach's aesthetic? Well, Ranbu no Melody takes that aesthetic to new heights, showing all of the combatants involved in this giant battle between Soul Reapers and Arrancar, bolstering the content here. I mean, as soon as the chorus comes in, this opening is just relentless when showing off all of these crisp-ass scenes, bruh. People like Aizen, Shinji, Gin, and Yoruichi, just to name a few, they all look amazing, with plenty of filter effects that spruce up the visuals even more. It's honestly mesmerizing. And don't even get me started on the song. I feel like I say this for every OP that's over number 5. I might have underappreciated Sid in my ranking video for Full Metal Alchemist, but I apologize. And also, I never said that they were a terrible band or anything. I don't know if this is my favorite song by them, but Ranbu no Melody is definitely the one that I find myself listening to the most. It's intense and invigorating, but also carries with it a tinge of sadness, you know? It's almost like some sort of musical representation of Ichigo's mood, or I guess I should say soul, when fighting against Aizen after emerging from the Dangai. Not sad, excuse me, but just like completely over all of the conflict, you know? Man, this would have been a perfect final ending for the original Bleach anime. And I don't know if it's my excitement for the upcoming anime return speaking here for me or not, but I would love to see a Stern Ritter version of this. Watching an OP like this makes it painful, man. Waiting in anticipation for all of the insane battle frenzy openings that I know that we're bound to get during the 1,000-year Blood War. I love a war arc and a tournament arc, and although we're still waiting on Bleach's official war arc, the Ranbu no Melody OP definitely makes the Fate Karakura Town battle feel like an all-out war, that's for sure. I think the last time I wrote this opening off as some sort of really good OP that just missed out on my top 5, but now, yeah, I can just go on and on and on about what a spectacle this opening is. Drop that trailer or something for the new Bleach anime, please. I'm waiting. TikTok Studio Pierrot. I don't know if they're doing it, but TikTok Pierrot, TikTok. Was every Bleach opening ranked from worst to best? You know, I really enjoy Bleach. Honestly, like Bleach over the years has come to become, nah, it's not better than One Piece. Definitely up there, you know, with Naruto and One Piece as, you know, the best series of the big three. More so than, you know, people make it out to be, because, yo, I'm telling you, the disrespect for Bleach is real, bruh. It's a real thing. It needs to stop, bruh. It needs to stop. Maybe before the anime comes back, I can rank all the endings, you know? That'd be fun, because I'd like to talk a little bit more about Bleach. But yeah, that's it for the video. Leave a like if I'm alright. Subscribe, please, because I'm still broke, believe it or not. I mean, 2,000 subscribers richer, but you know what I'm saying? It's still broke. And yeah, it's, as you can see, a new arc has begun for the Charizma channel. I've made a couple updates, changed the profile icon. And like I said earlier in this video, I do have a super top secret concoction that I'm currently still cooking up in my secret underground laboratory. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be on the lookout for another poll to see what the next ranking video I'll end up doing might be. I might end up just doing Food Wars, man, because people have been asking Food Wars, but I feel like, you know, I pit Food Wars up against Black Clover, pit Food Wars up against Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, and it just keeps losing. Understandably, but like, geez, man. But yeah, that's it. I'm out of here, guys. Be on the lookout for the next one, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy the new outro. Later. Sun time! Even at nighttime, yeah, it's fun time. Yeah, nigga, it's sun time. Spit the verse one time and it's done time. Don't do the rerun time. Niggas on run time. Here come time. Yeah, nigga, it's sun time. Okay. Hey. Okay. It's never going away. Yeah. Away. Yeah. It's never going away. Away. It's never going away. Away. Yeah. Yeah.